To say that Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, is a divisive film is a bit of an understatement. While some people enjoy it, there is a very vocal group of fans that absolutely hate everything about it, from the characters, to the direction, to the story. In fact, some fans were that incensed about the movie that they even bullied actresses Daisy Ridley and Kelly Marie Tran, who played Rey and Rose Tico respectively, off of social media altogether, which is quite frankly ridiculous. But here at Star Wars Nerds, we don't like to talk about the negatives, so today we're going to talk about 10 reasons why The Last Jedi is awesome. By the way, these 10 things are in no particular order, so with that being said, let's dive on in. 1. The Force Connection. It was signalled in The Force Awakens that the stories of Rey and Kylo were going to be intertwined, but when it came to creating The Last Jedi, director Rian Johnson had to figure out a way of keeping their stories interlinked while they spent so much of the movie apart. This led to the creation of the Force Connection, where they could both see and interact with each other across great distances. This gave the pair a unique opportunity to talk and connect without having to be in the same location. It really is an outside-the-box kind of idea which really does serve its purpose well, and it doesn't feel shoehorned in. The Force Connection even granted some vital exposition that not only brought Rey and Kylo closer together, blurring the lines of good and evil, but also drove the story forward in new and interesting ways. It also gave the scenes where they physically met a lot more weight and gravitas too. It's such a cool and effective storytelling device. 2. Canto Bight was cool. During the events of The Last Jedi, Finn, Rose and BB-8 go off on their own mission to find the Master Codebreaker. They travel to the dusty planet of Cantonica and land in the casino city of Canto Bight. This city is filled with the richest of rich people, those who make a profit from selling to both the good guys and the bad guys. Those with more credits than sense. They drink fancy cocktails, wear extravagant clothes, listen to opera singers, watch father of races, and play all kinds of casino games in hopes of winning even more money. Canto Bight really does just ooze style and sophistication. Now, we've seen smoky tattooed saloons full of the scum and villainy of the galaxy. We've seen sports bars where the residents of Coruscant go to unwind. We've even seen chilled out cantinas on Takodana where anyone, no matter who they are, can go and drink in peace. But we've never seen where the highfalutin socialites of the Star Wars galaxy go, until now. This is an intriguing peek into how the other half live, and it's something that we've never seen before. Getting a glimpse behind the curtain of those who profit from war, live and relax, really does add a new dimension to the galaxy far, far away. 3. Leia uses the Force. Everyone's favourite princess does a lot in the Star Wars galaxy. She's a warrior, a leader, a politician, a rebel, but she's not someone that's ever really tapped into the Force too much. At least not on screen. She feels ripples in the Force, for example when Luke is in danger in The Empire Strikes Back, or when Han Solo is killed in The Force Awakens, but she never consciously uses the power that is within her. Well, this all changes in The Last Jedi. The First Order is attacking the fleeing Resistance fleet, the command bridge is destroyed, and Leia is hurled out into the void of space. While floating there, seemingly on the brink of death, she taps into her Force abilities and uses it to float back towards the Resistance ship and safety. The use of the Force not only saved her life, but it shows that she really does have complete control over the mystical ability that strongly runs through her family. 4. Certain points of view. Everybody's heard of the "from a certain point of view" line, so famously uttered by Obi-Wan Kenobi in Return of the Jedi. It was a get-out-of-jail-free card that covered a multitude of sins. But in The Last Jedi, we actually get to see those points of view and understand the inner logic of how Kylo came to abandon Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy. First up, we see Luke's point of view, how he saw darkness in Kylo, and how the young apprentice attacked him. Then we see Kylo's point of view, how he awoke to find Luke seemingly ready to kill him, and he struck back in self-defense. Then finally, we get to see the truth, a balance of the 2 points of view. It goes to show that not all stories are as black and white as they seem, and they use these point of view flashbacks sparingly yet effectively to really sell the turmoil that not only Kylo was going through, but also Luke. It's a great storytelling device. 5. The HOLDO maneuver. Ramming one ship into another at the speed of light seems like the most ridiculous idea ever. It could easily go wrong in so many ways. But sometimes the stars align and things really do work out perfectly, as it did for Vice Admiral HOLDO during the slow space chase towards the planet Crate. With the Resistance flagship, the Radis, having pretty much no fuel left, everybody boarded small transport ships and escaped towards the planet's surface. But still the First Order followed. This is where Vice Admiral HOLDO stepped up and really took one for the team. Staying on board the now empty flagship, she turned the Radis to face the vast First Order fleet and put all power into the forward-facing shields. Aiming her ship directly at the fleet, she jumped to hyperspace. The move sent the Radiss hurtling into the First Order fleet at the speed of light, with the powerful shields helping the ship rip through the scores of Star Destroyers and even splitting Supreme Leader Snoke's Star Destroyer, the Supremacy, in two. The shot was 1 in a million and greatly aided by the super powerful shields, but still, it destroyed a large amount of First Order ships, left the First Order reeling, and gave the Resistance a shot of survival. It was a noble sacrifice for Holdo to make, and one that would ensure her name would go down in history. It was also an incredible piece of cinema, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the sound design of the Holdo maneuver scene. The visuals mixed with the several seconds of absolute silence, and then the boom and crack of impact is just chef's kiss. 6. There's not a single lightsaber fight. Star Wars is known for its lightsaber fights. It's one of the things that makes a Star Wars film a Star Wars film. But in The Last Jedi, you're not going to find two blades that touch. They might come close, but there are exactly 0 lightsaber fights in the movie. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter. There's plenty of lightsaber action. First up, Rey and Kylo battle alongside each other against Supreme Leader Snoke's Praetorian guards, and then later in the movie, Luke Skywalker and Kylo face off against each other without ever crossing swords, despite Kylo's efforts. While some people might be disappointed with this, especially the Luke versus Kylo battle, we think it's pretty representative of the Jedi way. As a wise Jedi once said, there are alternatives to fighting. Luke draws his saber, but opts to try to talk to Kylo, managing to avoid his flurry of vicious attacking swings and lunges. It just goes to show that while the lightsaber battles are in the DNA of Star Wars, not every movie has to feature one. In fact, we think The Last Jedi is a stronger movie because of the absence of a lightsaber fight. 7. The movie looks bloody gorgeous. Look at pretty much any frame from The Last Jedi and you're going to notice how beautifully composed it is. From the close-ups of BB-8 to the huge wide shots on the salt flats of Crate, no one can deny that this is one of the most gorgeously shot movies of the whole Star Wars franchise. Rian Johnson used each millimetre of frame perfectly, sometimes electing to go for shots filled with action and explosions and spaceships, to shots that have space to let the scene breathe. For example, the use of the dark and light is fantastic, almost being representative of the dark and light within Rey and Kylo themselves. There's always a purpose behind how each and every shot is framed and composed. One of the most notable choices was the use of the colour red, whether it's the red of Supreme Leader Snoke's throne room or the red that bleeds through the white crust of Crate. It's a vibrant and bold choice that really stands out in the best kind of way. The Last Jedi isn't afraid of standing out, of trying something new, and ultimately being one of the most eye-pleasing movies of the entire saga. 8. Hyperspace tracking. Being able to jump to hyperspace seems to be the perfect get-out-of-jail-free card in Star Wars. Plenty of ships that are being pursued have simply fired up the hyperdrive and shot off at light speed, never to be seen again. But the First Order had a solution: hyperspace tracking. They were able to calculate where a ship would come out of hyperspace and simply jump to the same point. That way, they had their prey metaphorically tied to the end of a string. At the start of The Last Jedi, the Resistance fleet evacuate their base on Dakar, jumping to light speed to put some distance between them and the First Order. However, literally moments later, the First Order fleet drop out of hyperspace right behind them, having tracked them over such a massive distance. Running out of fuel and unable to jump to hyperspace again, the Resistance just has to flee as fast as they can, for as long as they can. The addition of hyperspace tracking really does add another threat level to things, as there is literally no escape and nowhere they can run. It gives the First Order a fantastically annoying advantage, and it closes a loophole that has been used far too many times in the Star Wars universe. And here's a little fun fact, though. Hyperspace tracking has been mentioned before, though in the movie Rogue One, with Jyn Erso reading it out while searching for the Death Star plans in the Citadel on Scarif. This shows that while the Empire were already looking into the idea a full 30 to 45 years before the events of The Last Jedi, the First Order were the first to actually implement it and put it to good use. Or bad use, depending on whose side you're on. 9. Porgs. The Star Wars galaxy is filled with all kinds of weird and wonderful creatures, from mighty rancors to asteroid-dwelling exogorths to burly, short-tempered reeks. But no creature is more adorable and curious than the Porgs. These tiny flying creatures are native to the planet of Arc 2 and don't look like your typical bird. Short, chunky, and with flat, innocent-looking faces, Porgs are inquisitive to a fault, even stowing away off-planet on board the Millennium Falcon. Based off of real-world puffins, the inclusion of these little creatures in The Last Jedi is a great addition into a universe where the majority of non-sentient creatures look like they're ready to kill you at a moment's notice. Whereas every other Star Wars film has introduced a horrifying beast that the heroes have had to deal with, this is a nice change of pace that shows there really is an abundance of sweet, cute, and innocent creatures in the Star Wars universe too. 10. Luke Skywalker's portrayal was awesome. Luke Skywalker is the absolute favourite character of so many Star Wars. After all, he was the main character of the original trilogy. However, when it came to The Last Jedi, many fans had a massive issue with the portrayal of Luke, saying that he shouldn't be so miserable, reluctant to train Rey, and adamant for the Jedi Order to end. But here's the thing, it really does make sense for him to be that way. Yes, by the end of Return of the Jedi, he was a Jedi that was really in his prime, and by the time of the Mandalorian TV show, he was gathering students and building what was to become his new Jedi Academy. However, after Ben Solo betrayed him, massacred the students, and destroyed the Academy, Luke was a man on the edge. He'd not only lost everything he'd worked so hard to build, but his nephew had been taken by the dark side of the Force. Luke took this personally, believing himself to be a failure and not worth of training the next generation of Jedi. He believed it was his fault that such evil had been unleashed on the galaxy. He went to the planet Arc-2 to hide himself away from the galaxy and die, knowing that in doing so, he wouldn't cause any further pain and suffering. So him being miserable and dismissive of training Rey makes absolute sense considering all he's been through. Luckily, it is Rey that convinces him that hope is not completely lost, that there is a chance that he can once again be the saviour of the Resistance, and that the galaxy is ready for the re-emergence of Luke Skywalker, the Jedi Master. So there you have it, a list of 10 reasons why we think The Last Jedi is awesome. What do you think? Do you agree with us, or is there anything you'd change? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop them down below in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.